So welcome everyone, and nice to meet you all here. This is a webinar about expanding to the Netherlands and The Hague. And today I'll be sharing a little bit more about my experiences helping international companies in the Hague area. So I'm working at The Hague & Partners, the Hague Business Agency, and we assist international companies that want to establish their business here. Just to make sure, all our services are free of charge because we're a government-owned organization. So feel free to ask me any questions during the Q&A. So these are a few topics that will be covered today by me. So why the Netherlands and why The Hague? Some strong sectors in The Hague, and how we can help you during the pre-expansion, the expansion, and the post-expansion phase. So why the Netherlands? I think one of the main reasons to choose the Netherlands is because the Netherlands is considered as the gateway to Europe. And that's because of the strategic location. So it's next to UK, above France, and next to Germany. So within 500 kilometers, you can cover like 95% of Europe's most lucrative consumer markets. So we have airport Schiphol, the biggest port in Rotterdam. So you can cover like the main market in Western Europe. So that's one of the main reasons. Other reasons is that it's a very international business environment. So about more than 90% of the population can speak English. So that makes it very convenient for you to do the marketing and sales in English if you come here in the Netherlands, and also to set up your business. All the procedures, the law firms, they can all speak English to you. The same to us and the Hague International Center, we can also serve you in English. So besides that, it's also a very multilingual and highly educated workforce. So the access to talent is also in general quite high compared to other European countries. Excellent infrastructure, competitive climate, large choice of international schools, high quality of life. So according to the World Happiness Ranking, we are ranked, I think, number 5 of the happiest countries in the world. And that's also because of, it's known as a happy country. Great internet connectivity. We're home to key science clusters, which includes life science and health, agriculture, chemistry, logistics, creative, water solutions, high tech, and many more. And last but not least, it is also a politically and also economically very stable country. So now we come to The Hague. So in the Netherlands, why would you choose The Hague? So I have a small clip for you to give you a short impression.
You know, they say the perfect way doesn't exist, but that it's in how much you trust the muscles in your body to spring into action at just the right moment. That it's in your fingertips where you first sense its energy. They say it's the salty air from the nearby sea that stimulates the creative spirit. The same spirit that founded the International Court of Justice and the seat of government for one of the most prosperous and progressive nations in Western Europe. There is something about it, this place. And why are international businesses rolling onto its shores? Why do conferences become memories that live on in everyone's mind? And why are events here a remarkable experience? Like the waves we catch and ride every day. Perhaps because it's within easy reach from major capitals in Europe and close to one of the busiest seaports in the world. It's gained the reputation of being a startup capital, with many flourishing hubs for technology, energy, social innovation, finance, the legal sector, and NGOs. It could also be its international and youthful demographic, offering diverse talent. Or maybe it's just that salty breeze that blows in over the dunes after all. Whichever it is, we're here to help you become part of it.
So that was a short clip of The Hague to give you a little bit of an impression of our city. So it also mentioned, Peace Palace, and that's also where The Hague is known for. It's the international city of peace, justice, and security. So that is also one of the strongest clusters of The Hague, the Peace and Justice Security Cluster. More than 400 NGOs, international organizations, nonprofits are all working towards a better, safer, and a more just world. But actually, besides this cluster, they also wanted to grow a more innovative and a more entrepreneurial side to this. So 8 years ago, they decided to create Impact City, which is an initiative from the Hague municipality, especially to support the impact startups and scale-ups grow from The Hague. So this is a little bit different from other startup hubs around the world. And for example, in Paris, UK, in London, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, we are all about impact economy. So how do we help them? So together with Impact City, we have numerous programs on access to funding, access to talent. We give them exposure, we give them the networks. So really to create a better ecosystem for the startup and scale up in the impact scene. So the Hague impact economy is really linked to the sectors that we are working for. So for example, the first one, legal and policy, we attract GovTech startups and scale-ups. Within finance, I'm also supporting impact companies, but also impact investors that want to invest in impact entrepreneurs. Of course, NGOs and impact economy is a strong sector. IT tech is really big, but also within IT tech, we are focusing on tech for good. And the last one, energy, we focus on new energy solutions. So also in the clip, you saw The Hague, and in the map, you can see that it has a very strategic location within the Netherlands. So like the biggest economical region it's called Randstad, and that's within the 4 biggest cities, which is Amsterdam, The Hague, Rotterdam, and Utrecht. And you can reach all those cities within less than an hour. So for example, Rotterdam, you can reach it within 30 minutes, Amsterdam in less than 45 minutes, 1 hour, and Utrecht also around 1 hour. So everything is very close by, and the Netherlands is very small, especially compared to Nigeria. So very strategic location, next to the ports. Also international rail connections are very easily to reach Brussels, Berlin, London, Paris. So yeah, that's 1 point for strategic location. Also in the clip, you saw one of our unique selling points is that we have the beach next to the city. Maybe not as big as in Nigeria, but we are very proud of our 11 kilometers long beach. And it's also one of the greenest city in the Netherlands. So you can also enjoy the dunes. Also in the winter, we love to go to the city and to the sea. So yeah, that's also one of the highlights of our quality of life in The Hague. So how can we help as The Hague partners? So in all the phases, we can actually provide you with support or help. So during the pre-expansion phase, we can give you all the information about the sectors in The Hague, the business climate. We can connect you, for example, with Impact City, with other networks that are relevant to you. We can also organize virtual fact findings. So that means that we can introduce you to, for example, the networks, or for example, law firm, if you have questions about setting up your business or immigration or IP law, all sorts of that questions. But also if you're in the Netherlands, we can organize a special fact-finding for you. So we can organize in-person meetings within 1 or 2 days. I've also listed up a few startup hubs. So you can also visit those when you're here in the Netherlands, or during the fact-finding trips, I can also connect you with those hubs. So during the expansion, there are a few steps for setting up your business. So first of all, you'll need a notary, a law firm with a notary who can incorporate your business. And for the incorporation, you will also need an office address. So usually a lot of international companies, they will first use a flexible desk. And after that, when they come here to the Netherlands, they can also use an actual office. But we can also connect you with accountants, bank accounts. We can also help you with that, which is a little bit more difficult at the moment. It's challenging to open a bank account, but of course we can help you finding the right connections. And for a lot of startups, it's important to have a facilitator. So we can help you also introduce you to facilitators for your startup visa. And Gerco, he will tell you more about the startup visa process. So post-expansion. So once you're here in the Netherlands, we are still helping you with the post-expansion. So for example, we have a special investor relations program. So we help you, for example, if you're growing your company in the Netherlands within a few years and you need a bigger office, we can help you find the realtors, real estate agents to find a suitable office for you. We can help you with a little bit of promotion, to get a little bit more exposure, give you more visibility within the startup scene, with interviews or PR on social media. And I mentioned before, Impact City, they brought a lot of programs, especially for startups. For example, funding programs to make you become investor ready. We have matchmaking events where we can connect you to also meet investors. And the last part, of course, we can connect you to the Hague International Center. Gerco will tell you more about the personal side and when you arrive in the Netherlands. Thank you. Now to you, Gerco.
Yeah, thank you very much, Daisy. Perhaps to the moderators of the event, I think you have to see the chat. It seems like some people are sending a lot of messages from a country which is not Nigeria. I will share a presentation as well. Hold on 1 second. Can you see it full screen already or not? No. 1 second. I hope now you can see it full screen. Basically, as Daisy told you a lot about the more business side of things, I will talk a little bit more about the personal side of relocation. There's a strong overlap. For example, to be able to do your business in the Netherlands, you need a residence permit, which is, you get it because you sponsor yourself as a company. What the Hague Partners does is in direct line what the International Center does. I work officially for the city of The Hague, and we have sort of the same vision as attracting innovative companies that can support The Hague. Of course, a little bit on our side, where I work for the city government as well. If you establish your company here, you will also be a new citizen of The Hague. Someone truly born here, we call Hagenees. This is your first step in integration and learning a little bit of Dutch. But basically, we have a lot to offer as a city for other internationals as well. I hope Nelson, at the end of the presentation, can also confirm that we're a really nice city to live in as an international. We talked a little bit about the corporate side of setting up your business. It's innovative. It's considered one of the most competitive cities. Daisy talked about peace and justice, which is, it's the second most important UN city in the world as well. A big startup ecosystem, but also in terms of international talent moving to the Netherlands and to The Hague, we rank very highly as well. And this has to do with some factors related to career, but especially also some of the work-life balances. As you perhaps know, with a lot of Nordic countries, but also Western European countries are quite unique in terms of quality of life. We were ranked #1 quality of life in the world recently by an international ranking. A happier country as well, especially because it's safe to live in. There's high salaries, low cost of living, but also strong protection of people. So, for example, if you start working for a company, you set up your own company, and it's not going so well, there's a lot of government support available. So you're not left by your own in the Netherlands. Politically, economically, the country is very stable. There's high freedom, high stability as well, which attracts a lot of people from abroad as well. Because, for example, if you want to raise a family here, there's a lot of facilities for your children, like international schools, but also, they're free to roam around on the street. A lot of people bike to school, they bike to the sea, a lot of recreation as well in here as well, which attracts it to a lot of internationals. In general, we basically talk about that we have 60,000 expats in the region. But think about it, for example, like on a city of 500,000 people, there's about 25,000 people who come from abroad and work in one of these innovative clusters. So a lot of people will be speaking English. A lot of services are in English. If you want to rent a house, you will be sent English language contracts. It's easy to make friends as well. There's African communities, but also a lot of other people from other countries which are open to meet and mingle with internationals. A little bit about the immigration part, because it is a big part of moving your company to the Netherlands, has to do with your work and residence permit. One thing I would highlight is like if you're a business owner, there are certain permits in the Netherlands. I will highlight the startup visa program, and I will highlight some things. Sometimes people will establish a company in the Netherlands, but actually you are like a director, but not a shareholder. So I'll highlight some of the employee permits as well. This is just for you to gain an insight in what's happening. If you actually, are serious about establishing here, or you want to visit the Netherlands to see how it works, Daisy and I will actually guide you through the entire process. Basically, the startup visa is for people that own their own company. Can be, for example, up to 3 owners, and it's an easier way to get access to the Netherlands. Usually we say if you are a business owner, you have to prove that you have profit to sustain yourself. But for startups, which are innovative, just starting, developing still their ideas, it's sort of a 1-year trial period. Oh, that is not something I did. Something is drawing on the presentation. Someone is drawing on their presentation. Presentation slides again. A startup visa is for innovative companies. It is a 1-year permit. After the 1 year, you basically have to show that you made enough progress, and you become a self-employed permit holder. Or after some time, you can opt for different permits, which you don't have to prove anything anymore. In our region, we have a lot of startup hubs. And also university connected accelerator incubator programs, which might be able to sponsor you. So if you're interested in one of these programs, reach out to us and we'll figure out which one best supports your needs. Their differences are sometimes they really select you on how innovative it is, how it adds something to the ecosystem. And some of them are, for example, more like an equity-based organization. They will ask certain equity of the company to be able to provide you with support. The startup visa itself, as a Nigerian, you will have to apply for to the embassy. You basically apply for entry and a work and residence permit in the country, but you can also visit the Netherlands and apply from here. We have a lot of in The Hague and in the South Holland area, so the province. But if you, for example, are working in aerospace or water, or it's a media, what happens as well is that you can actually join one of the programs throughout the country. There's actually a lot of startup incubators throughout the country, and we can guide you to a different region, which might, for example, best serve your needs. Beyond the startup visa, which is really for when you're a shareholder in the company, a lot of people actually come in with a foreign company and they're actually an employee. 3 things I would like to highlight where most people come into the Netherlands is one of the ways people go and come into the country is an orientation year. the Netherlands basically has a 1-year permit for after you graduate, for which you can look for a job or establish a company. The main reasons to be able to get this permit is you either studied at a Dutch university, which is why a lot of non-EU people also actually study in the Netherlands because they're allowed to search for work afterwards, or you graduated from a top 200 university. So think about American, a lot of Asians, some universities in South Africa, a lot of European ones are actually on the list. So perhaps if you studied abroad as well, or you intend to do so, there's also a permit connected to this. Most people who have a job and recruited from abroad come in as a highly skilled migrant. This permit basically tells you like, hey, if you're a specialist in this country, you need to earn a certain salary in euros locally. And if you earn enough, you'll be able to go and come to the country. If you're establishing your company and you want to use this permit, you have to go to a vetting process first. Throughout the vetting process, they basically check the finances of the company, if it's stable enough to support employees. And if you meet this criteria, you get the sponsorship, and you can actually attract as many people as you want, as long as you can prove that you have the finances for that. Basically, the salary criteria are quite high, also for the Netherlands. They are on the slides. I can send them after you to as well, so you can check. How it works is, for example, if you're above 30, you have to earn at least 5,000 euros a month, excluding 8% holiday pay, and it's a gross income. So you also have to take into account that the taxes go after this calculation. It's quite a high salary, but sometimes if you're expanding your company and you already have a lot of investment, sometimes it works for startups as well. An easier way nowadays, because highly skilled migrants can often be difficult for small companies, is what we call essential startup personnel. It's if you're innovative companies, for the first 15 employees of the company, you can actually hire 5 of them outside of the European Union. The main criteria for that is that you can prove that you're innovative, but also that you pay them a minimum salary of 2,500 euros. And you provide them with at least 1% equity. So shares, stock options, whatever works in your structure. It's a lot easier, for example, compared to the high skilled migrant permit. So a lot of innovative companies start using this new permit, which makes it a little bit easier to set up in the Netherlands. A lot of that is quite technical. You have to look at your own business schedule, structure, like how it works. And because there's a lot of like steps in the paperwork you have to take care of, we provide a lot of support from the Hague International Center. And the support we provide, we also have 11 colleagues throughout the country. So for example, if you decide to go to Amsterdam or to the north of the country, we actually have colleagues there who can help you as well. What kind of support do we often offer to people? Is like basically when you're still in Nigeria, thinking about moving, you might want to visit the Netherlands to find out how it works. We provide one-on-one relocation support and immigration support for new companies. We go over the steps you need to take. We go over the permits that might work for your company. If you start bringing in employees as well, we have webinars, for example, about all the paperwork that you need to arrange, but also, for example, how to find housing, how to find education for children. And we nowadays have an app. And the app provides you step-by-step guidance of coming to the Netherlands. We also have physical guides, for example, with detail a lot of the steps you need to take. And upon arrival, you also need to take care of some formalities. For example, you need to get a document proving that you can legally stay in the country. You need to get a registration with the government to be able to arrange a lot of things formally. And we take care of these services. Also, if you want, for example, you want to look for a house, you might want to get in touch with a real estate agent, and we can provide you with a lot of referrals to international friendly service providers that we trust, we work with, which make it easier for you to settle in this country. If you're settling in, we provide help desk for every question you might encounter. You have a dog, you want to import this one. You have a spouse who's trying to find a job. You have children who are looking for a playground. You want a Nigerian community access. We provide a lot of help for that. We also have events to connect you, for example, to other newcomers. and also a little bit more about, what's actually happening in The Hague. For example, tomorrow we have a big public holiday. A lot of people will celebrate the King's birthday in the street. Like, a lot of these things are very new if you come from abroad, and we try to guide you through the process as well to make the most of your experience here. As Daisy mentioned as well, our support is free of charge. We're government agencies supporting people relocating. So wherever you ask to us, perhaps you have follow-up questions, the organization can send you us our contact details afterwards as well. If you have questions, you're very serious about moving, you're still deciding, or you have some other questions, feel free to reach out to you and we can help you to the best of our ability. Perhaps also we have some time for some questions afterwards. But this was basically, I think, the key elements I wanted to tell you guys about. So thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Greco. And thank you, Daisy. I mean, after I heard your presentation about like how beautiful Netherlands was, I'm like, gosh, why am I moving to the US? I should move to Netherlands. And thank you, Greco. That was very detailed. I mean, I like the fact that, the presentations were so detailed that after this event, we can even share that as a point. I feel like the next will be something that is very close to me, which is basically always good to see somebody that's done it before, share their experience, how long it took. And I'm sure many people do have questions. We're streaming this on YouTube, and I think we have quite a number of people joining that platform too. Sorry if you get kicked out and you're not able to join, please join our YouTube. We're sort of restricting access to this. So I think the next person is Nelson. So Nelson, please share your story. I mean, it sounds very fantastic. I feel many people would like you to just tell them, how you did it and how long it took.
Oh yes. Thanks for the introduction. I think overall, I always say that the Netherlands is, especially having lived in several other countries and also operating business in other parts of the world as well. I've always felt like the Netherlands is quite a very special place, and it also holds a very special place in my heart as well. Especially when it comes to, let's say, the ease of doing business overall, I think the Netherlands is one of the top ranking countries. And also overall in terms of digital automations and also just accessibility of processes or things that you want to, or things that you need to set up your businesses. Majority of the things are all online, easily accessible. And sometimes, of course, it might be in Dutch, which is a local language. You can easily use some tools or Google Translate to translate them. And also, most of the time, there's always a chat agent or like a call agent that you can always call or chat with, and they're always, most of the time, open to have a conversation with you in English. And also on ground, most of the citizens speaks very good English, actually. And people are just super, super helpful. Like I mentioned, I've lived in a lot of different countries since I was 17, and overall, of course, especially when it comes to equality and filling the aspect of equal rights and just that level of comfort of living. I find the Netherlands to be the most or the best in terms of comfortability and equal right and feeling that sense of equality and safety. I find the Netherlands to be I will put it the top among all the places where I've lived. From an individual basis, from an individual side of view, I feel like each Dutch people really tries to make you feel accommodating, and most of the time, I think it's also a very natural thing that people just feel that people just feels like everyone is equal and everyone is the same. And I think that's something that is quite beautiful, which is not easy to achieve. I mean, I'm not saying that it is perfect, but you know, in relations to what is available out there, it is a lot so much more better. Um, but of course, with the system, there's still some, you know, there's still some progress that still needs to be made in relation to, let's say, systems and processes. But on an individual level with normal people, it is amazing. So I think from that angle, and of course, when you move to any country that you move to, you relate more with people, and the people matters the most. And also when it comes to the system as well, I think they're also constantly looking at, because of course the people push the system, so they're also constantly looking at ways and processes to improve that system overall. So I think, again, in my experience, also based on my exposure, I think it is an amazing place, definitely, to live and also to start businesses with a lot of support from local government, also from state government as well, or the national government. In relations to kickstarting businesses, or in relations to, like what Gecko already mentioned, also in relations to supporting um, the company financing as well, also in relations to the company growth or going to market, or let's say access to facilities and infrastructures that can make your business grow at large.
Thank you so much, Nelson. I feel like I have a lot of questions from people that have asked us before you joined, and I would like to throw that open. And if you have any questions after this, please, we'll still be taking Q&A after this. But a few questions based on what we have received so far. Just to know, is this opportunity open to all sectors or just some particular sectors? I know that you have sector preferences, and
Yeah. I can answer this question. So of course, everybody, we can provide all the information to everyone. But of course, The Hague has their strong sectors in what I already mentioned, right? So energy, IT tech, etc. And other countries or other cities, they have also their own strong clusters that are focusing on. So the networks around these clusters are the strongest. So we can connect you with these networks. We can connect you with the right service providers that are working within these sectors. So therefore, that will be like the most efficient to work with, right?
Yeah.
So, but of course, there are other companies that are not within the sectors that we are also helping and providing them information about how to set up the business. Because a trading company, for example, of course, is also setting up their business in the Netherlands, but they have less information needed about the startup hubs, for example, or how to get investor ready, for example. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So so different kind of tailor-made advice can be provided.
Okay, Nelson, I think this question is for you. First of all, what stage was your business in when you got, and how long did it take you before you were able to set up? Like, we want to know, like, is this opportunity for, like, what stage were you in your business? And how long did it take you to complete the process from start to finish?
Yeah, I remember I think when I moved to Netherlands, I first moved one of my existing company from Asia to the Netherlands, the holding company. Also from within the Netherlands as well, I also started Zarttech, where we connect development forces from Africa at first with companies in Europe, in the UK, in the US. But now we've also scaled even beyond Africa. We've also scaled to connecting global tech talents with global companies as well. And we're also slowly also extending into, let's say, for example, sales, customer experiences, also other fields as well, to also connect what you call these talented individuals, either from Africa or minorities as well within the ecosystem in Netherlands, or let's say in France or in Germany, or within our ecosystem as well with companies that are looking to be more inclusive in their hiring process. And also at the moment as well, yeah, so I've grown new businesses from scratch, and I think um, for example, we are located in The Hague, and The Hague maintain, which is like local government, has been an amazing support from the onset as well. I think I liaise very closely also with Daisy and Gecko as well. So they've been great, amazing people. Even sometimes they come to our office, we sit down together, and then they look at how far we've come, and then of course they also ask us what are the other kind of support that we need. And also at the moment as well, we're launching a fintech solution as well in the UK. We also got the connections. So through the Dutch government, we also introduced also to the UK government as well. And now we're also launching a fintech, what's it called, company in the UK. And also we're also launching another new company as well, a new SaaS solution as well in June, July, also in the Netherlands as well. So I think regardless of which stages your organization is, it can be an existing organization like I had at the beginning. I moved an existing organization here. It can also be a new organization, or it can also just be an idea that you want to also launch. I think from all that different stages that your organization might be, you have, I mean, the kind of support that you could get.
Okay, thank you so much, because I mean, your response was very good at highlighting things that I know people ask, whether it's a new business or it's an existing business that they want to scale and scale across board. A quick thing I wanted to ask, I mean, just because you're the one there, is how is funding? How is fundraising in the Netherlands? I mean, being in tech in Nigeria, I know fundraising in the US because some of my investors are in the US. And I kind of have an idea of fundraising in the UK because I schooled in the UK, but how is fundraising in Netherlands? Like, is there a diverse portfolio of investors that are looking to invest in minority demographics and stuff? How's the journey for them?
I would say maybe not at the beginning. If you don't have traction, it's a lot harder. If there's no traction, but once you start to have very good traction, because so I think the ecosystem is quite a very safe practice ecosystem. So in relation, let's say, for example, to the US, is a lot easier to raise funds even without traction. In the UK, because of the tax incentive for angel investors, is a lot easier as well, also without tractions. In the Netherlands, it is a lot harder, I would say. But once you start getting tractions, and also if your business also quite scalable as well, then it becomes easier to raise, let's say, from angel investors or commercial venture capitals. But also alongside, if you know how to work the system, there are also grants that are open and available for people. But again, I think you might need to show more result before you can access those kind of funds. At least this is my own experience. So I don't know how it is for others, but also from the other minorities as well. This is still a big challenge that we're pushing as well, and advocating more for a much more inclusive funding access for minorities as well in the Netherlands. But I see some tractions as well, because the VCs are also paying more attention to it now. And they're organizing some cohort for female investors. But of course, I think they still need to probably push beyond female investing when it comes to inclusiveness of funds, to also like people of color as well, and just kind of, yeah. But I think overall, if you have a scalable model and you can show, let's say, results and let's say revenue growth, it will be a lot much more easier.
Thank you so much. I think, Greco, this is for you. So I know that in the UK, there's an entrepreneurship visa class that enables you to do your business and at the same time, maybe get a job to be able to support you while you're trying to do your business. Is that like available in the Netherlands too?
Yeah,
Because
perhaps to add is the startup visa is a process where you can build your startup. And you are allowed then to work for your company or other companies. But if you, and you don't have to work full time, stuff like that. But you do have to prove before you come that you have enough money in your bank account, or you have someone providing you with a monthly stipend, for example, that you can support yourself for 1 year. So you have to prove for 1 year for the entirely duration of the permit. So for example, you have to prove that you have for every month you have about 1,400 euros in your bank account. So it's quite a sum to basically support, to show that you have enough money to live and to pay rent, stuff like that.
You say 1,400 euros?
Yeah, a month, which is not much in the Netherlands. Like if you pay rent, stuff like that, you don't have so much money, so you need more actually. How it works is if you find, for example, a job next to you, you might have to ask for another work permit. So you are able to get multiple single jobs, but it's not something which most startups do. They tend to work on their startup, and if you find a facilitator, so a sponsor for your startup visa, some of them do pay you a salary. So especially in relations to you provide them with equity in the company, so a stake in the company, they provide you with a salary to live in the Netherlands. So you don't actually have to work next to your developing your company.
Okay, I mean, so I think there's a follow-on question from what you just said. So after the 1 year and you're working in your company, what happens the next year? Is the visa like renewable every year?
Yeah, how it works after this 1 year, you basically have to pass certain what we call milestones. For example, setting up the company, talking to your first investors. And after 1 year, when you pass these milestones, you basically go into a self-employed permit scheme. Basically, still not proving that you make a profit with the company. You still have time to build a company. And this self-employed permit is renewable for your entire life. Like every 2 years, you renew the permit again. You have to prove the conditions, but you can continue doing so. How it works in the Netherlands, if you stay there for 5 years, you can apply for permanent residency. So then you don't have to prove anymore that you have a company, for example, because you have proven that you can sustain yourself for 5 years. You know a little bit of Dutch, you know a little bit of Dutch culture. You have to pass an exam, but you don't have to keep applying for the permit again.
Okay, I mean, that's very clear. Thank you very much. I think a last question before, so I'm trying to also look to see if there's a way that I can coin some of the questions that some of the participants are asking in the chat here, and just the ones they've sent to us before. So I know that sometimes, I mean, so let's take, for instance, Shecluded. We are, even though our HQ is currently in the US, we do business in Africa. So Africa is our market. And I think that for some people that are joining here, sometimes their market will be in Africa, but maybe their HQ will be in the Netherlands. I don't know if that makes sense. So sometimes the product might not be for Netherlands, but it might be for different markets, but their HQ is there. Is there like a requirement for that sort of structure? Does this arrangement actually cover it?
I think perhaps I can tell the legal issue, but Nelson is actually doing this, that he is in the Netherlands, but working for other companies worldwide. Perhaps you can tell a little bit about how you work with the startup visa as well, Nelson.
Nelson, are you here?
Yes, yes, I'm here. I think it depends, because you can have your holding entity in the Netherlands. Also, there is a lot more benefit as well for having your company in the Netherlands. There's also tax advantage as well. I think Gecko hasn't mentioned that. So there's also tax advantage and all that kind of advantage, access to fund, access to grants. I mean, in relations to the Nigerian ecosystem, it is so much more better. And if you also have access to financing as well, the interest rates are also way much more lower as well. So you could, let's say for investment, for access to international investors, it also sometimes makes sense to have, let's say, your holding company in the Netherlands, and then you can still have your operating company in Nigeria or somewhere else in Africa for those from other African countries. So that's still a possibility. But of course, this has to be a business decision that you're making. that, okay, is this what is best for my organization or not? I don't think, of course, it can be a business decision from the angle of access to fund, or let's say, also maybe even access to partners, because with a Dutch entity, you can also easily access some very far-reach partnership that could be very lucrative for your local business on ground as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So I saw an interesting question. I think someone says, oh, they're into agri commodities, and they sort of like would like they have an export license and they want to see if they can get like business partners in the Netherlands for buyers for agro commodities. I think I've seen that question twice. Is this something that you guys know how? Is this something that you guys can handle?
I think that's more like business development. So
Yeah.
that's not really what we're specialized in.
Okay.
But yeah, of course, we can help them connect with some networks in agriculture in the Hague area, for example. But it's not that what we specifically do.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much. I wanted to keep this on yes, we're right on time. So thank you everyone for joining, and apologies. I have so many questions. So apologies for earlier on. I mean, somebody hijacked our Zoom. I'm very, very sorry about that. That has never happened. I'm not sure how that happened. This is a very useful resource for us, and we particularly like that you guys did it for our community. We'll put it on YouTube and we'll share it along. After this, we'll collect some of the questions and the feedback from many people that joined the meetings, and we'll try to sieve them to get relevant ones in terms of the criteria that you have given us. And if you want us to share your details to so many other communities and share this video, I will also ask for permission if you want that after this. But that's all from us. Thank you so much. And this was very, very insightful. And I might be coming to Netherlands towards the end of the year, so I might just stop by.
Yeah, and I just also want to get it out there as well that if anyone is looking, if you have a background in technology or in sales, customer care, marketing, all the digital roles that can be done remotely, you can always reach out to us, and we'll be happy to also help connect you to companies as well in the Netherlands.
Yay! That sounds like good. So basically, wait. I mean, we are a community of moms, and some of them, they've upskilled digitally to be able to work from home. So you're saying that there's opportunity for you to be able to get them jobs in the Netherlands? Wow.
Yes, definitely. And also we actually started a new line of customer care now to actually help to create a lot of jobs in Africa that can be done remotely from home. So we've got a very nice, interesting, comprehensive software that we can connect you from the comfort of your home. And then you can also, as long as you have very good English pronunciation, we can also give you more coaching. But then you're going to be able to work with international clients remotely from Nigeria or from Africa, and also get this international, engagement. And if you're looking to relocate and move to countries like the Netherlands as well, there's also that opportunities as well. So feel free to reach out to us. That's what Zarttech is all about as well, connecting and bridging the gap between the Netherlands, between Europe and Nigeria and Africa as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would contact you for more details. And thank you, everyone. Have a nice day and good afternoon. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. Have a nice day. Bye.